What's up, guys? Hell in the Cell just went off the air, and I gotta say, this was a solid pay-per-view from top to bottom. I thought it was a great show. A lot of great things happened in this show. A lot of great surprises, and I gotta say, overall, I was highly impressed. Let's get right to this review. First match of the night, Christian taking on Sheamus. I didn't have many hopes for this match. I just didn't really have a good feeling about it going into it, but it did end up being a good match. I will say that. It got a great amount of time, but while Christian was being introduced, the camera cuts to the crowd, and we see that The Miz and R-Truth are making their way to the ringside area with tickets in their hand. They bought tickets for tonight's show. They wanted to get a ringside perspective, but they were quickly ran away by John Laurinaitis. He comes down and he makes sure that they have no part of the pay-per-view whatsoever. Anyway, Sheamus is introduced and the match gets underway, and I gotta say, for what it was worth, it was a great back and forth match. A pretty decent pace, like I said, a great amount of time, and Sheamus does get the win with the Celtic Cross, just as I predicted, and it was a great little match to open the show. And next we have the good Sin Cara taking on the bad Sin Cara. And I'm going to say this right off the bat. I don't really like judging things. I don't really like being the guy that, can't be pleased. But I was expecting a lot more from this match. I was expecting to see a lot more than just head scissors all night long, because that's what it seemed like. It was head scissor after head scissor after head scissor. And, I just thought it was an okay match. The crowd really felt me because they were chanting boring throughout the entire match. Anyways, the good Sin Cara, or the original Sin Cara, Mystico, he gets the win over Hunico. And, it was a 10-minute match. I will give it credit on that part, but I just wasn't feeling it. It was an okay match in my opinion. Next up, we had the WWE Tag Team Championship match. Air Boom taking on Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. This was a great tag team match. Air Boom was able to retain the titles, and I will say this, that both teams had tremendous chemistry. I loved the tag work. I especially loved the heel tag work from Dolph Ziggler and Jack Swagger. Evan Bourne was able to get the pin over Jack Swagger for the win. Wow, this was a great match. It got 11 minutes, and I was highly pleased with it. Okay, the fourth match of the night was the first Hell in the Cell match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Mark Henry taking on Randy Orton. And I'm going to say that this was a great match. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it turned out because, it's Mark Henry and Randy Orton. And, for big guys in cage matches, they just don't really do it for me. But I gotta say, I was highly impressed. I really liked the World's Strongest Slam spot on the outside when Mark Henry was about to slam Orton through the steel steps. But on the way up, Randy Orton was able to grab the cage wall and get out of that predicament. I thought it was really nice. The coolest part of the match was the booking of the finish. I loved how Mark Henry was in a vulnerable position. He was almost about ready to get his head knocked off from the punt, but he reverses it, catches Randy Orton in a World's Strongest Slam, and he gets the win. Wow, I was so happy to see Mark Henry retain the title. And this match got a great amount of time, in my opinion, 16 minutes. And of course, after the match was over, chairs get involved, and of course, Randy Orton and Mark Henry continue to scuffle after the match is over. But I gotta say, that was a great match. Next, we had a nice little Cody Rhodes segment. I had a feeling he would be on the pay-per-view, and he definitely was. He comes out wearing his suit with his two lackeys, and one of the lackeys has a paper bag, and the other has a satin sack with what looks like a championship title inside of it. So I was thinking to myself, alright, we're going to get to see a new IC title. Well, it kind of goes that way. We kind of get to see a new IC title. New to some people, new to the younger fans, but very familiar to us older fans. Anyways, he comes out and he debuts the classic white strap Intercontinental title. I was marking out. I loved that moment. He was talking about all the greats who had won that title. Of course, he goes on in true heel fashion to say that he is going to hold the title with much more pride than any of those guys. Anyways, John Laurinaitis comes out and rains on his parade. He tells him that Triple H wants him to wrestle, so he puts him in a match. Cody Rhodes taking on none other than John Morrison. And here Cody Rhodes is wearing nothing but dress slacks and dress shoes. And they end up having a nice little 8-minute match. And you gotta say, for a guy wearing dress slacks, it was a great Intercontinental title match. Cody Rhodes gets the win, just like I predicted. I said it doesn't matter who he takes on, he is going to win. And that's what he did. I loved the match. It was great. Next, we have the WWE Divas title match. Beth Phoenix, Kelly Kelly, third time in a row on pay-per-view. And you know what? She finally did it. Beth Phoenix finally got the win over Kelly Kelly. And it was an interesting finish, to say the least, because Beth Phoenix has Kelly Kelly in a submission hold, and Natalya grabs the mic, and she starts yelling at Kelly Kelly. She starts telling her to scream, Kelly, scream. And she gets out of that submission hold, and Beth hits her with the Glam Slam for the win. I gotta say, I liked it. It got a nice amount of time for a Divas match, 8 minutes, and overall, hey, it was a good match. It's good to see Beth Phoenix as the new Divas champion. And last but certainly not least, we have the main event, the first ever triple threat Hell in a Cell match. Alberto Del Rio, CM Punk, and John Cena. I gotta say, this was a 24-minute match, and these guys, they were full throttle this entire match. CM Punk looked amazing in the match. He got busted open, or I should say his back got a little lacerated, so he was bleeding from there. He was getting knocked all around. And Ricardo Rodriguez knocks the ref out, takes the key from the ref. He opens the gate to the Hell in a Cell. He has a lead pipe in his hand, and he's trying to hit John Cena with it because ADR is about ready to tap out. Anyways, John Cena sees Ricardo Rodriguez, and he basically gives him the attitude adjustment to the outside of the cage. And of course, ADR grabs the pipe, knocks John Cena out, and then locks him out of the cage. I was like, this is awesome. We are definitely going to see a new champion. And we do. We see ADR get the win. Of course, after brutally hitting CM Punk with that pipe several times, but he's finally able to get to 1, 2, 3. We have a new WWE champion, ADR. I liked it. Of course, right after the match, the cage lifts up a little bit, and in comes The Miz and R-Truth, and they start beating up everybody. The cameramen, the refs, ADR, Punk, anybody who got in the way, they knocked them down. Everyone from the locker room spills out, and they're all surrounding the cage trying to find out how to get in there. Even Triple H is seeing if he can get inside the cage, but no one can. And finally, someone with bolt cutters comes out to get the door open, and in go the police. And of course, The Miz and R-Truth surrender to the police. They get handcuffed, and they get escorted out of the arena. What an interesting way to end the show, to say the least. I gotta say, from what I thought, from what I could see, to me it was a pretty good way to end the show. But overall, this was a damn good pay-per-view. I really liked it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What'd you like? What'd you dislike? You know this is Gold Dizzy. Peace out, guys.